Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and co-creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to answer one other amazing question from inside our members lounge, and this is from somebody we'll call T, because I just in case I don't use people's names. So this is actually a wonderful question. So this individual says, I'm a fearful avoidant / AA, so anxiously attached individual. So sort of like the anxious side of fearful avoidant, also dating a fearful avoidant who's sort of on the dismissive side. And this is what happens when you have two fearful avoidants together, okay? Two fearful avoidants are going to polarize each other, and it can look like one person always is more in the more dismissive role, not always, but let's say the vast majority of the time is more in the dismissive role, even though they'll have a lot of fearful avoidant qualities, but they're sort of presenting as more dismissive, and that makes the other person more anxious, or the person more anxious can make the other person more dismissive. And so the two sides will sort of polarize. You can see it that way, where you sort of tend to maintain that certain structure because one person has a lot more anxious tendencies of the fearful avoidant, and the other has more dismissive tendencies of the fearful avoidant. They have the avoidant side instead of the anxious side, right? Because sometimes fearful avoidant, in case you guys didn't know, is also referred to as either disorganized attachment style or anxious avoidant, because you sort of have the two sides there. But it's not just a combination of the two. The fearful avoidant will also have a lot of their own unique characteristics. One of the sort of foundational features being challenges with trust, right? So this individual says you have two together, and again, just to finish up that last point, sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place right now, but you can have two fearful avoidants who polarize each other and sort of maintain that, or you'll sort of have this fluidity where, two fearful avoidants can have either partner presenting as anxious and either partner presenting as dismissive a lot more of the time, sort of both flip-flopping, and that's usually a little bit more common. It's only when we have people who are sort of really on the anxious side of fearful avoidant or really on the dismissive side of fearful avoidant that we'll see the patterns tend to stay more concrete, okay? And on a side note here, I have an advanced fearful avoidant attachment style course which talks about the fearful avoidant in each of the 6 stages of the relationship, and it also talks about sort of like the different dynamics you'll see that can take place. So how you are in the dating stage of the relationship, how you are in the honeymoon stage, the power struggle stage, and it talks about, there's parts in here about how if you have two fearful avoidants together, what you'll sort of see in these different dynamics. So if you want to learn more, check that out. But anyways, so this individual says, in the last few weeks, this person's done a sudden 180 and I'm left confused. How do I express that I miss how this person used to be? And in brackets, a time when he was open and vulnerable and I was getting my needs for connection and security met without causing him to become exasperated or defensive. And this is a wonderful question. And so you can present this as I'm sharing this information. As you're listening to this, as the listener right now, you can think of this with somebody who's dismissive or with somebody who's on the dismissive side of fearful avoidant. You can sort of use some of these same tools in this specific context. So what I would recommend to do, if that's what's taking place and you see this person sort of shift and change all of a sudden, chances are, especially because this person is rooted in fearful avoidance, they misinterpreted something or they're hurt in some way and they've shut down, and instead of communicating to you, they've closed off and stonewalled and shut you out instead. And so what you really want to do is you're looking for two things to happen here. You're looking for, number one, you to be able to express your need, and number two, for you to understand what triggered the situation so you can create resolution from both sides. And so what you might do in this situation is first try to express the need in a very positive, light way. Like, I love our connection together when you're really open and vulnerable, and I love that part of you. And so you start by expressing it positively, like, hey, I want this back, right? And then you can turn around and say, and I noticed that sort of didn't this week, or it shifted all of a sudden. And I want to know if there's something that took place between us that feels unresolved to you, because I would love to understand what that is and get back to that really wonderful connection we have again. So what you're essentially doing is you're communicating your need, but in a positive format first, and then you're turning around around and also saying, I'm trying to understand what happened. So you're offering that olive branch for resolution between the two of you, because especially with, so you can apply that to dismissive avoidance too, because it's most easy for them to take needs when they hear them expressed in the positive. And if they're really not listening and it's really not working, then you can use conflict resolution tools, right? By communicating how you interpret the situation and what you need and following it through and strategizing around it more consistently. But in this case, with two fearful avoidants specifically, when fearful avoidants are stonewalling, when they're really like pushing away, it's almost always because they're first hurt. Okay, and so that hurt is causing them to shut down and shut out. And so that's really important to have a conversation, because fearful avoidants are often struggling too sometimes with emotional dysregulation. And if we don't get to the root of the problem, usually things will come out in not so great ways down the line, because fearful avoidants really feel a lot of their feelings. And so they don't have as easy of a time to just repress, right? So I hope that's helpful. And I hope that also is helpful, because I know a lot of you are asking about videos on two fearful avoidants together in a relationship, and I will do some more work around that, some more videos around that for you guys as well. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share any of this when you can. Thank you.